Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're doing something a little different. We're completely deconstructing the traditional approach to sports betting. We're throwing out the gut feelings, the weekend guesses, and instead we're looking at this whole ecosystem through the lens of a data scientist, or even a Wall Street trader. We're going to break down some incredible tools and academic research and show you exactly how publicly available odds can be systematically exploited. Let's get right into it.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the mindset shift from gambling to investing. Then, we'll master finding the closing line. Third, we'll explore automating your betting edge. Fourth, we'll dive into some advanced tactics and tools. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with mastering the investor mindset. All right, Section 1. From gambling to investing, ditching vibes for data.
I want to ask you this directly, right out of the gate. Are you gambling or are you investing? Because, look, taking 20 pounds and throwing it on a weekend accumulator just because you've got a good feeling, which, let's be honest, usually just ends with your bet getting totally ruined by a bad referee call in the 90th minute anyway, that's gambling. It's entertainment, right? But what we're exploring today is treating this ecosystem as a literal investment vehicle. When you start relying on probability models, historical data, and real-time market movements, you are no longer just a spectator making a wish, you're an investor hunting for a mathematical edge.
And this idea is actually backed by academic research. There's this fascinating paper titled Beating the Bookies with Their Own Numbers. What's crazy here is the researchers didn't use insider knowledge. They didn't even try to predict the football matches themselves. Instead, they just exploited the probability information implicit in the odds that were already publicly available. They proved that this market is actually kind of sloppy. It's inefficient. By simply finding where a specific bookmaker mispriced their odds compared to the market average, they achieved consistent, moderate profits over thousands of games. It literally proves the math works.
Moving on to Section 2, finding the closing line and identifying mathematical value.
Okay, to actually invest in these markets, you absolutely have to understand closing line value, or CLV. Simply put, if you can consistently get a better price than the true probability dictates, you hold a mathematical advantage over time. Think of it like a massive final voting system. Just before a match kicks off, all the smartest money in the world has been placed. So the odds, right at that exact moment, the closing line, represent the most accurate prediction of what's actually going to happen. If you placed your bet hours or even days earlier at a higher price than that final closing line, well, you've secured value.
So, the secret sauce is comparing two different types of bookmakers to spot the exact moment the slow one lags behind the sharp market. On one side, we have the sharp bookmakers like Pinnacle. These guys take massive bets, run incredibly low margins, and actually let sharp, winning bettors shape their odds. They're basically the gold standard for true probability. But on the other side, we have soft bookmakers. These are your standard everyday platforms. They cater to casual punters, so they're often way slower to update their lines, and frankly, they make mistakes. Your goal? Use the sharp bookmaker as your absolute source of truth, and attack the soft bookmaker when they're too slow to react.
This is probably the perfect analogy for this whole concept. Think of these market inefficiencies as a temporary glitch, where you're effectively buying money for less than its true value. If you see a £5 note being sold for £4.50, you don't need to know a single thing about the economy to know that's a profitable transaction. You buy it every single time. That is exactly what finding a mispriced odd at a soft bookmaker is like. You're literally buying probability at a discount.
There's this great quote from an industry veteran, Joseph Buchdahl, that hits the nail on the head. When he says no vig, he means removing the bookmaker's profit margin. You see, every bookmaker bakes a hidden fee, a margin, or a vig into their odds, so they make money no matter what happens. If you take the incredibly accurate odds from a sharp bookmaker like Pinnacle, mathematically strip out their margin to find the 100% true fair price, and then find a soft bookmaker offering odds higher than that fair price, boom, you've got a bet with positive expected value. Do that thousands of times, and the math guarantees you will profit.
Let's jump into Section 3, automating your betting edge and letting bots do the heavy lifting.
Now, understanding the theory is great and all, but let's be real. Human beings simply can't monitor hundreds of live odds across dozens of platforms all at once. The value literally disappears in seconds. This is where tools like the Pinnacle Edge Bot from AutoAlerts come in, automating this entire complex process. It constantly scans Pinnacle for those highly accurate lines, instantly strips away the margin to find the true probability, and then cross-references that true price against the soft bookmakers in real time. The very second it spots a mistake, where a soft bookmaker offers a price above true value, it fires an alert straight to your Telegram.
This kind of automation is a total game changer. I mean, you no longer need to be chained to giant manual spreadsheets. You can just set custom time filters. Like you could tell the bot to only alert you 15 minutes before kickoff, making sure you capture the odds right as the market solidifies. And the best part? The alerts give you direct links to the specific soft bookmaker so you can instantly lock in the bet before they even realize their mistake and correct the price. The technology just completely removes the friction.
All right, Section 4, Advanced Tactics and Tools, where we look at exploiting specific market niches.
To really put this into perspective, let's look at the results of a 120-day backtest using this automated value betting system. In just a 4-month span, this systematic approach generated 129 units of profit, meaning 129 times your standard bet size, spread across over 900 individual wins. This is absolutely crucial to understand. We are not talking about hitting one massive lucky parlay. We're talking about grinding out hundreds of mathematically sound positions. It's moderate, it's steady, and because it relies on backtested data, it's a proven edge, not just a hopeful guess.
Using the quick filters and trends pages, you can actually construct targeted systems to find both teams to score, or BTTS matches that fit highly specific criteria. Just look at how logical the setup is. First, we set a rule that the away team must have scored in their last 10 away games. That ensures incredible offensive reliability, right? Then, we demand the home team averages at least 1.6 points per game, confirming they're a strong, capable side. Finally, we require the odds to be at least 1.6 to make sure our risk-to-reward ratio makes sense. You just set these rules once, and the software automatically scans global fixtures to hand you a curated shortlist of games matching your exact mathematical parameters.
And the sheer breadth of data you have access to here takes you way, way beyond basic stats. Want to exploit the corners market? There's a dedicated page powered by a 5-year probability model that infinitely scrolls through global matches. There's a bet slip generator where you literally just type in your target odds and the algorithm builds a mathematically sound accumulator for you. There are live in-play scanners to catch momentum shifts during a game. And for the real data nerds out there, you get full API access, raw JSON data so you can build your own custom models. It's like having an entire quantitative analysis department right on your screen.
Okay, bringing us to Section 5, Mastering the Investor Mindset, or using Wall Street tactics for sports markets.
Listen, you can have the absolute best data in the world, but if your psychology is flawed, you're going to fail. Just like an investment banker training on Wall Street, you have to test your systems patiently. Start by paper trading. Track your bets without using any real money, just to prove your system actually works. But most importantly, you have to accept variance. A 5-bet losing streak isn't a disaster. It's completely normal and mathematically expected. Casual bettors panic and scrap their whole strategy after 3 losses. But an investor understands that their edge plays out over thousands of bets. You've got to completely remove emotion, ignore your team allegiances, tune out the pundits on TV, and just trust the cold, hard math.
So we've seen how the smartest minds in this space transition from guessing to calculating. We've looked at the academic proof, the mechanics of closing line value, and the automated tools that make capturing that value effortless. The tools to systematically invest in these markets are right here in front of you. So the only question left is, how are you going to play the game? Will you keep donating to the bookmakers based on vibes, or will you harness the data to finally take back your edge? Think about that before your next move. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep learning.